Good morning, everybody. So we'll be discussing about the new pattern issued by CBSE. The first session will be about maths. So this paper will be divided into total 5 sections. We'll discuss it one by one. Now there will be first section, that is section A. Then you have section B, C, D and E. So total there are 5 sections. Now the first section, section A, will be consisting of 20 questions. Each question will be of 1 mark. Similarly, section B will be containing 5 questions and each question will be of 2 marks. Coming to section A, it will have 6 questions in all. Each will be carrying 3 marks. Section D will be having 4 questions and that will be 5 marks each. And finally, the section E will be having 3 questions. This will be, section E will be case-based type of questions and they will be 4 marks each. So, the total will be 80 marks. And the time will be 3 hours. So as a sample, we will discuss if you want to communicate with me, you can write in the chat box. So if this is clear to all, we can go within the section of the paper to find out what type of questions will be asked. Let us now start with section A. Okay, good morning everybody, and if this is noted down by you, just keep in mind, all of the students, this is for maths I am discussing. So in all total you will be having 38 questions to be solved within the stipulated time. So while attempting this kind of exam, the time management is very, very important. Knowing the answers is not enough for any of the exam. For good scoring, what you require is the accuracy as well as the speed. We should be able to complete these 38 questions in 3 hours of time. Now, if you look at the section A, you will find that the questions are somewhat tricky and they consume a lot of time if you are not aware about them. So you just have to develop certain logic to solve such kind of questions. So like if you take an example of some of these questions in section A, you will find that I will be providing you some of the examples for each of the section according to their marks. Like what paper is circulated to you, if you have that one, so you can go through that and find that section A has the questions of this type, like the largest number which divides 70 and 125, leaving remainders 5 and 8 respectively. Surely this question is about SCF, but they said that there are two separate remainders. So what we can do, we first subtract these remainders from the given numbers and then find their SCF by any of the method. So such kind of questions, they can be easily solved if we have the basic knowledge of finding out the LCM and SCF. There will be again some of the questions which are based on your linear equations in two variables. Then also quadratic equations, AP, coordinate geometry. The two formulas you have in coordinate geometry. Then similar triangles, circles, and also polynomials, the nature of the roots, then trigonometry, like one ratio is given and they may ask for the another ratios, or the relation between some parallel lines like this. And you can see the question number 19 and 20. They will be of assertion reasoning type, which you might have been practicing on the basis of the 10th syllabus. Okay, just one question is there. The event is very unlikely to happen when its probability is. So such kind of questions also can be asked. That will be zero probability basically. Now coming back to section B, it will be having the questions which will be of the 2 marks questions. So here you will find that the questions like if some polynomial is given to you, like 3x square minus 8x plus 2k plus 1. This is some polynomial in x. We can call it as a px. And what is given to us is the zeros of this polynomial is 7 times the other. That means if I take one as alpha, then the another will be, or alpha can be 7 times beta. This is given to us. So this kind of questions will be there for 2 marks. Now generally we know two rules for the relation between the zeros and the coefficients, and they are, one is alpha plus beta, that is the sum of the roots, and another is alpha beta. So alpha plus beta is given by minus b by a, and alpha beta is given by c by a. So we can use this concept to solve this question. Now alpha plus beta, so alpha I can replace by 7 beta. So from this I can say 7 times beta plus beta, that gives me minus b upon a, is basically minus 8 by 3. So this comes to be how much? This will be 8 times beta will be equal to 8 by 3, or beta will be 8 by 3 into 8. So this will be cancelled out, and we now get beta as 1 by 3. So also we can calculate alpha by using this relation. So beta is 1 by 3, and what about alpha? It will be 7 times this value, so it will be 7 by 3. Now come back to the another relation. This relation also we have. Now we have both the values for the zeros. We can put here 7 by 3 into 1 by 3, that equals to c by a. Now what is c? See, this complete term is c. It is 2k plus 1 upon 3. So this will be 7 by 9 equals to 2k plus 1 by 3. Now by cross multiplication you can solve it, or even 1, 3. So you can say this 7 by 3 minus 1 is equal to 2k. You have LCM as 3, so 7 minus 3 is 2k. That will be 4 by 3 into 2 is k, and finally the k will be 2 by 3. So this kind of questions, they will be having a weightage of 2 marks. In case of those section A questions, it's not very necessary that you can show the complete solution, but section B onwards, you have to show all of the steps according to the marking scheme of the board. So there you should not miss any of the step in your solution, and also you can provide reasons or some rules where you are using, like this one. We know that these are the relations between the zeros and the coefficients, that also you can mention. So this type of questions will be there. Okay, Keshav has asked a question. Marking scheme will be same in pre-board? Yes, it should be. Because we are going to appear into the board exam. So finally, the marking scheme followed is the one which is issued by the board. So yes, surely every school and every teacher will be following these instructions only while giving you the marks. Might be your pre-board exams are going on, so you can go through the pattern of the paper also. If it is not, you can bring it in the notice of your teachers that this will be the exact pattern on which the your board paper will be based. Okay, now this is for 2 marks. So if you go for the another section, I am just taking one example. You can discuss, this paper will be circulated to you. You can discuss with your teachers, and you can come along with some problems if you face during solving these sections or anything, any question. You can come back next week with the doubts and other things so we can solve them out. Now coming back to the section C. Now this section C basically deals with 3 marks questions. So your answer should be more detailed now. One question which is regularly and consistently asked is like some numbers. You have to prove that 7 root 5 is irrational. Generally, what mistake we do, we generally take this root 5 as irrational, but here it is not given. The question simply says prove that 7 root 5 is an irrational number. So don't take risk in solving such kind of questions when it is for 3 marks or more generally. So what you have to do, first you know that method how to prove this root 5 as irrational. So your first part of your solution should be in describing how you have proved or reached to this solution that root 5 is irrational. And after that, you can follow those steps to prove 7 root 5 is irrational. Don't do it directly or take it granted that root 5 is irrational. Okay, another type of questions here. One identity will be there for trigonometry chapter. You will be having internal choices also there. One question from probability. Okay, so you can also have this broad idea that question number, this part will contain 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 and 31. So total 6 questions you have here. So breakup of these 6 questions you can find either of these. The number can be changed. So one question will be from this rational numbers system or number system. Then you will be having one question from quadratic equation. Then you will be having one statement question. And this statement question can be from like quadratic equation, linear equations, like that topics. One question will be from geometry, that will be of prove that type. Generally, the questions you can find in NCERT book, which have proved that or show that type of questions. Fifth one will be identity to prove, and the sixth one will be from probability. So these six topics are very important, and this section of the paper even contributes for 18 marks in total. So this is a very important section in your question paper. Okay, just be careful about this and practice a lot for these topics. What topics I said? These topics, six topics basically. You just concentrate on this to get these 18 marks. Okay. Now coming back to the next section, that is our section D. If this is clear to you, you just concentrate on these topics what I mentioned here. Rational number, quadratic equation, one statement questions, they can be from any of the topics. Then the geometry based questions, which is prove that or show that, one identity, and one question from probability. Okay. Then we'll go to the next section. That is section D. Next section is section D. Section D will be having 4 questions. Each question will be of 5 marks, so that comes to be around 20 marks for this section. And the question numbers in this section will start from 32, 33, 34, 35. So these 4 questions will be having weightage of 5 marks for each of the question. Here you can get one question from linear equations in 2 variables. That will be a statement question. Then here it will be this question will be having a choice. That means you will get 2 statements. Out of that, one you have to attempt. One question you will get from the triangles chapter, that is similarity and that BPT or similarity. One question you will get from mensuration related to area. And one question Mensuration question generally deals with that area related to circles, some shaded regions or the combination of different figures, that kind of question. And one question you will get from statistics. Now this is very important. Statistics basically that mean everybody remembers. The problem is what the two formulas we have, one for mode and another for median. So for this what I suggest is you just learn this formula and practice the questions from your NCRT book. Don't refer to any other book for formula, and whatever symbols are there in the formula you also learn them as it is. Try to take the help from your NCRT solved examples, even you can take help, but the symbols used in the formula that you should remember as it is. Don't learn any other confusing symbols which are there in other books also. Like for example, median, you have this formula L plus bracket capital N by 2 minus CF upon F bracket complete into H. So you just remember this one, and also for mode concept you also remember the formula which is given in the NCRT book. In case of mean, because there are another thing also. In case of mean, if nothing is mentioned about the method, that means what method you are to use. So you can use any of the method. That is your choice. Generally, that method is a simple one is sum of fi xi upon sum of fi. Or somebody is comfortable with the assumed mean, step deviation, that also you can use. And you will be getting, yes, 32, you will be getting a choice in 32. Here you will have a choice, and another choice you will be having in question number 34. So these two questions will be having the choice in this one, 32 and 34. So it's your choice. You read both of the parts of that question. So don't just read one question and start solving it. My advice is to always go through the question paper thoroughly, and whenever you have the choices, one has a great chance to score. So if you are comfortable with any of the parts, whatever choice is given, you should use that one and use it judiciously. Read the question carefully, and then you can take a decision which part you have to solve. Now this was about section D. This is 5 marks each. Now there is the last section excuse me, of this paper, that is section E. Now the questions left are 36, 37, 38. This in all contains 3 questions, 4 marks each. So total you will get 12 marks from this section. Now what I find in this section, these are the case based questions. Let us first discuss the structure of this. Here you have the choice in 36. Then in 37 also you have a choice, and 38 also you have the choice. And these questions are case study based questions where some example, some diagram, some information is provided to you, and based on that you have to answer some questions. So the paper circulated to you, that is sample paper number 2. You can see in that one, generally these questions you can see from the topics like tangent to the circle. Some topics I have noted down. Generally, when I studied these sample papers, I found that for case study, these topics generally they are repeated. Then another concept which we use here is concept of mensuration, that is area and volume like this. The third topic you can see linear equations, statement questions again. And in this one, linear equation generally everyday problems you can say, or everyday cases you can say. They are generally taken here. Like the fare of the taxi, what you studied in ninth class, that some part of the fare of a taxi is fixed and the another part varies with how many kilometers that person have traveled. So according to that, the bill is prepared. So let us say, and sometimes what they do, they include some kilometers into the fixed charges that you have to take care for. Again, the like railways half ticket and full ticket concept, and sometimes even coordinate geometry. So by going through this one, I found that these are the topics generally repeatedly they are asked in the case study. But this is the just information. What exactly you have to be careful is you have to be very careful about when you get the question paper and you start solving. Now, what exactly I feel, the section A is the most time consuming section of this paper, and this has only 20 mark weightage. Okay, and one question is 1 mark only. So just be careful. I am observing nowadays that in pre-board you also have observed this thing that around 1.5 hour without knowing you have consumed. That means half of your time you have consumed while solving this section A only. These are some tricky type of questions. They demand a logical approach to solve them. So my advice is just go through this section, read all of the questions, 20 of them, very fast, and first attempt those out of 20 which you are 100% sure. So out of these 20, you just give a first try to those questions which you are 100% sure about the answer or method. And if you are left with some questions, don't worry. There are two choices now. You can leave a space in your answer sheet for those questions by writing the question numbers there and leave some space for them approximately where your answer can fit later on. But don't stay there. Don't stay there in section A for very much longer time. Just what my target is around 35 to 40 minutes, not more than this. Don't stay on this section for this much time. Once, because what happens exactly is during exam, if you have consumed half of your time for 20 marks, still you are left with 60 marks more to solve. Now for 20 marks you have consumed 1.5 hour. 60 marks still are remaining, and for that you are left with again the same time. 50% of your time is consumed. Yes, that is good question, Abhinandan. Yes, you can. But what you can do, you can take the whole section to one place in your answer sheet. Okay, don't do like this that you can had done section A, two or three questions at one place, then started with section B. Don't do that. Avoid that. Yes, you can go by section wise. Take one section, solve it completely, and then go to the another section. Now you have your own choices because this is 12 marks, then section D is for 20 marks, like this. You can take a decision. That's why what I am saying is you can go through your question paper first. That is the first you can have that idea about the questions. And generally, what we have, we can make up our mind prior to solving or writing down into the answer sheet. We just make a map of that total question paper in our mind and try to understand how we can tackle with this, how we can complete all of our work, 80 marks work in 3 hours. That is very important. Time management is very, very important when you go for the exam. This you can try while you can buy any good book of sample papers in the market. They are available. But always go through this thing, what pattern I have said. Prior to buying the book, just check whether these things are there or not. The sections, the type of questions I have already told you. Don't buy any at random book. Okay, so that you should be careful about. And at home even you can give a try. And in your pre-board exam, you might get a good exposure for this. So it's very important that you should have this approach towards these questions. What topics I said, this is some new sections like section A and section E. Last time they were there, But this time they have made the questions somewhat, I can't say they are difficult, but they are not the straight questions basically. So if you look at the section A of any paper, you will find that every question has a twist. They are not direct type of questions like find the LCM, find the SCF. These are not the type of questions you will be getting in the exam. And specifically, if you have taken the standard part of this, standard and basic, you know that there are two options available with you. One is standard and another is basic. The pattern for both of the systems is same. The pattern has no difference. The sections, the questions, everything, the weightage, everything is the same. Only the difference is there in the difficulty level. So the students who have taken the standard option, they should focus more to these topics as I told you. So you have to practice a lot for this one. And generally when you practice for the longer questions, specifically that two sections what I said, the section B, then C and D. These sections. These are 2 marks section. This is 3 marks one and this is 5 marks one. So these three sections you should be very careful. And if you practice a lot for these type of questions, you will get a benefit to solve those section A questions also. Because the basic knowledge and the basic principles which are used while forming those questions in section A is coming from these topics only. So one has to always practice a lot for these type of questions. You can categorize the questions in 2 marks, 3 marks and 5 marks and practice them a lot. That will help you in both of these sections, section A and section E. That's why I am keeping these sections out of this bracket. Now this will basically lead to you solving better your section A and your section E of the paper. This will automatically happen if you practice for these three. Okay, so we can now take some of the examples where we generally make a mistake. So I will come to that point. Like the first question generally the students ask is about AP, arithmetic progression. And the question is which term will be the first negative term of the AP. This is the general question which confuses many students. So we know that formula. An is given by A plus n minus 1 into D. And generally whatever APs you get for such kind of questions, you will find that they will be having this common difference negative. They generally have the value of D as negative. So what easily you can do? You can easily take this value of An as 0, keep this 0. Okay, and these values you can get from your AP, given AP. A you can get from your AP. M basically we have to find. As I said, this value of D is generally negative in such kind of questions. So these three values you can get from that AP. An we put it 0. Then you will find that, let us say, the value of n is something like 30.12, like this. Now, n is always a whole number. It cannot be a fraction. It cannot be a decimal. But we are sure about if this 0 is somewhere between 30th term and 31st term. This 0 value of an is somewhere between these two. But we are sure about, as the common difference is negative, so surely the 31st term is going to be the first negative term of this AP. So such kind of logics you have to develop in solving the questions like this, where they ask for the which number term in that AP will be the first negative term. Then you have that another questions even. Okay, which of the following is or is not a quadratic equation? This is another type of question it is asked. So the quadratic equation, simply you remember that standard form, which is ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. Now what is important in quadratic is the important thing in quadratic is it should have a degree of 2. This is the first thing. Second is no exponent should be negative. For any of the variable in that quadratic equation, it should not have a negative power. So by this way, you can just find out whether the given relation is a quadratic relation or not a quadratic relation. Another will be for the distance of a point from x-axis, distance of the any point from y-axis, like this. Like some point is given, p is 2, 3. So let us say a point is given, p 2, 3, and they have asked a question that what is its distance from the x-axis. So always remember, whenever the coordinates of a point are given and distance from a particular axis is asked for, like here they are asking from x-axis. If they ask for the distance from x-axis, then you just write down the y coordinate, 3 unit. That's all. No need to worry about. And if the question is the distance from y-axis, you just write down x coordinate, that many unit. These are very useful concepts when you solve these section A questions specifically I am talking of. So such kind of questions you are going to get there in section A. Okay, another one also there. If the radii of two concentric circles are 4 and 5 centimeter, then the length of each chord of one circle, which is the tangent to the other circle. Concentric circles means they have same center but different radii. So here you have, let us say this is the center, and you have two circles now of different radii, like this one, and there is another one. What said in this question is the chord of the bigger one, which is the tangent to the smaller one, and this is a center, common center, and the radius for this one is 4 centimeter. We know this is always perpendicular at the point of contact, so we can name these points like this is P, this is A, this is B. Now the diagram is very important in such kind of questions because both the radii are given. Like the radius for this is 5 centimeter, and we have to find the length of AB. So easily you can apply the Pythagoras theorem in triangle APO, where you can see 5 square is equal to 4 square plus x square, that is 25 minus 16 is x square, 9 is x square, and x is 3 centimeter. And also from a theorem in 9th, that the perpendicular from the center bisects the chord. So by that way we can say AB is twice of AP, which is 2 into 3, so that is 6 centimeter. So this kind of questions repeatedly I had seen in section A. Okay, good Abhinandan, this is 6 centimeter is the answer. So you should be developing this kind of logic. Okay, any questions you can post in your chat box. Then I will be circulating the next sample paper in a day or two. You just take the time of, again is very important. You can schedule your time for 3 hours any day. Take one question paper, try to solve it in 3 hours. That will be very, very important. If you practice it regularly, I don't think so there will be any problem that you are not going to score good marks in your exam. But as what I said, it's not like this one that you can waste a lot of time on the particular type of questions. you give weightage to each and every concept in your maths book. Okay, any questions? You can put them into the chat box. Or any kind of confusion you are having, your pre-board exams were of this pattern or not. If your maths paper is over, so you can just find out whether this pattern is followed or not. This is the standard pattern is available on the website of CBSE, cbse.nic.in. You can download it from there. Marking scheme is also available. Okay, so just go through everything, and if you face any problem, let me know in the next session on next Sunday. So up to that time, you just practice a lot for these concepts what I have told. I will also come along with some new concepts for you what I find it's important to practice for a particular section. And as I told you, that one section B, C and D, just try a lot for that. Okay, I don't have Abhinandan this NCRT book just now with me. I will ask the coordinator to put this solution for this question. Okay. You are from which school? And if next time in next class, if we have the time, so we'll just discuss this question. But I think NCRT questions you can get solutions from your teacher also. You can ask your teacher. If you are not satisfied, you can ask me in the next class. No problem. But generally, what my aim is to discuss these papers with you specifically to make you aware about the pattern of the exam and what kind of knowledge basically they are expecting from you and which are the more important topics you should give weightage to them. Okay, it's good one. It's a good session with you. So next time when we meet, come along with solutions. You can try to solve some papers within 3 hours and we'll discuss them next time. Okay.